All right, this is Mark. Welcome to Single Car Garage. And let me show you how to check the fluid levels on this 2016 Camaro. You'll start the car and let it get to 133 and not over 149. Now with the car running and the temperature between 133 and 149, you remove this plug right here. Put your drain pan under it. Remove this plug while the car is running and at temperature. Transmission temperature, 133 to 149, not the car temperature. Open this up. It will drain out. Once it stops draining, your transmission is full. Put your plug back in and you're done. Now, a couple things when I was checking the level. I used my pan that comes with my lift. You can certainly use anything. What I would do if you've got it on a lift and don't have that pan, I would bring it up and put a ladder in there and put the pan on top of that ladder. Also, if you can fill it through this hole, they make an adapter that fits this once the bolt's out, and you can pump fluid back up in through there and then take your hose off. And if it leaks out, it's over full and let it leak out. And if it doesn't leak out, you add more fluid. Well, there's several ways to pump your fluid out. And again, I've got a pneumatic pump that will suck the fluid out of the transmission fluid. What I did, and I think I showed you all this, I used a little siphon hose to siphon out the old transmission fluid. Then when I got it down low enough, I took the pan off. I siphoned out 6 quarts because I measured it all. I put 7 back in, and it pretty much ran about 3/4 of a quart out, so it was about 1/4 of a quart low, and it doesn't have a leak, so I couldn't explain that one. But I got it all back in there, and I did add the lubricant in there for the torque converter to keep everything extremely slick so you won't have that wear on the torque converter. When these transmissions start shuddering, your torque converter is not, it's not slipping. The clutches on the torque converter are grabbing, and that's what that shudder is. So it's important, if it starts shuddering, you need to get it fixed, because what my transmission guy tells me, 3,000 to 4,000 miles of shuddering and you're done. This shuddered at 30,000 miles. We probably drove it about 500 or 600 miles before I put that differential slip in it. And then it hasn't shuddered, but I went on and changed it at 50,000 miles because my transmission guy taught me that. What I have talked to a couple of GM people tell me every 30,000 miles, change your transmission fluid or have it changed. I haven't found anybody that'll do it for less than $500. It cost me $98 in transmission fluid. It cost me $28 for a gasket and $32 for a filter. And so we're a little over about $125, $30 for the change versus the $500 being the cheapest. And I had to drive an hour to get that price, so I definitely wasn't going to do that. That's real easy to do. You'll need a torque wrench that measures in inches if you want to get your torque specs right. You'll need a way to drain your transmission fluid. A 10 millimeter wrench or socket wrench to take your pan and everything off. You'll need approximately 7 quarts of transmission fluid, and you want to use the Mobil 1 synthetic. That's what they recommend to use in it. It holds up the best and stops that shuddering somewhat. And you'll need a transfer pump to pump it back in there. I have a pneumatic one, but I use that hand one. It took me less than 2 minutes to pump that oil in there, and I think it would have took me 2 minutes to set up my pneumatic pump to pump that oil back in there. So I thought that hand thing was a lot easier. I actually bought that just to try it. I like it, so I'm going to be using it some more on some other applications that I have. It'll do any kind of oil. If you put gas in it, it will dry out the seals on it. So that is what we've got in changing your transmission fluid. A couple other things. One, I showed you in putting the transmission gasket on. This is the little tip that goes on your pan. So it goes down on your pan, and this little tip goes on your transmission. When you put your filter in, there's a little tip right here that's on the far end of your transmission from where you unplug it, and it's got a little slot that fits up into the transmission. And when you're taking that little plug out, the fill plug and the plug where I took the transmission fluid out of, this is the tool I used. It's an upholstery tool. Takes clips and stuff out. But you can use a screwdriver also. So that's about it on the transmission on 2016 Camaro. I've got 3 videos that I've posted. There's other videos on YouTube that are even more specific and go into a lot more detail. I would definitely watch them also. You cannot get, I usually, if I'm on YouTube looking at something, I'll watch 3 videos before I decide how I'm going to do something. There's not a lot of information on these transmissions out here because Chevrolet wants you to bring them back to the dealer to get serviced. So I had watched, talked to a couple of people. I watched 2 YouTube videos, and both of them were good. There's one gentleman on there that's excellent. His video is very long. He goes into a lot of details, but it's good video. Shows you a lot of the details. And hopefully my video will show you. It's pretty easy to do. Anybody can do it. Save yourself a lot of money, maintenance your transmission, and keep it going. And now this little old turbo Camaro is ready for another 50,000 miles. My wife's getting ready to go to Florida, so you know what? Hopefully I did everything right and we won't have to go get her. Hey, everybody, have a great day.